Welcome back again. This is Aquarium Hacks by Marcus. Well, I am very excited to say that my two Tanganyika tanks are finally almost completed. I finally got the multifasciatus, which was causing a great deal of problems with the visionary planet tank that I wanted for this 90-gallon tank. I finally got that one just about finished. And then I have this 40-gallon breeder tank, which is pretty much finished as well. There's a few things I'm going to do to that as well. So let me just get started and show you some of the things that I've got in both of these Lake Tanganyika tanks, and I'm pretty excited to show you these things. It's going to be a little bit of a longer video, but hopefully it won't be too long. So let me show you what's going on with both of these tanks. We just start with this multifasciatus shell dweller tank, and I'll just tell you some of the features about this tank and some things that I'm going to change in it. Now, this multifasciatus tank, it's just the main fish in here are, of course, shell dwellers. That's all that's in here is just shell dwellers, and of course, escargot shells everywhere. I've got guppy grass. I've got 2 heaters that is heating it, and I've got pool filter sand full of snails, MTS and ram's horn snails, and Texas Holy Rock. And of course, it's ran by Seachem Title 75 filter. And of course, the plants in here is guppy grass, Java fern, and of course the golden pothos there on top. And so some things that I'm going to change up in this tank is the 2 big pieces of Texas Holy Rock. I probably will replace them. I got some flat pieces that I'm going to put up against the back wall just for looks, and so that I can provide more shells in this tank so the fish can continue to have more shells in it. This tank has probably got, I would say, probably about 75 shell dwellers that are dwelling in this tank, along with a couple crypt plants as well that I will probably end up removing as I add more shells. Very difficult tank to keep rooted plants in, but hey, it is somewhat possible with the right kind of plants. Now we move over to this tank here. This is my 90-gallon Lake Tanganyika tank. Just the inhabitants of this one. This is a kind of a mixed tank, but the inhabitants of this one is, of course, the Rasboras, brilliant Rasboras, and Harlequin. I've got 4 Cyprichromis leposoma in here. I've got Leupi in here. That's kind of an orangish yellow one there. I've got Julius chromis transcriptus in here. I got an Albino Bachardi in here. And I have 1 black Calvis in this tank as well. And so this tank is almost done. I'm going to get about 5 or 6 more Cyprichromis just to fill it out. It also has Nearite snails, and it also has much rock work, MTS snails, ram's horn snails, the big fake rock back in the background. All these other rocks are real, and I've got some large shells up front that I'm will probably change up. Also, some plants that I've just got is jungle valve, which will probably melt back and then grow back again. I got some crypts there that are in the foreground or in the middle ground. Some Java moss, some Java fern, and it's ran, of course, by the sponge filter, 2 heaters, 1 external heater, 1 internal heater, Eheim 2217, the Title 55. I even got a UV sterilizer on it, because the only reason I'm running it because somebody gave it to me on a trade, so why not? It's got 2 LED lights, 1 shop light, 1 plant light. That's Beamsworth, and this tank here is ready to go. And just to let you know about this one as well, which I forgot to mention, this one too is also 1 run strip LED light and a plant light on top for the golden pothos. So they're well stock. Okay, so anyway, back to a little bit of discussion. So that's how my tanks are functioning and going on now, and everything is going just fine, and I'm really proud of them. Both of them are very clear. I have the UV light on one of them, and that one is a nice tank. It's clear, but I don't have a UV light on the shell dweller tank, and it's still clear. So, you know, your filtration and what you put into your filters and stuff like that does make a difference on the clarity of your water. Of course, a UV light will always help get rid of some other things like floating bacteria and parasites and stuff. Now, just two things I want to talk about real quick if I have the time. Because sometimes this camera, I don't know why, but it wants to turn off. But hopefully it won't turn off this time. But a couple of things that I want to discuss about these tanks. Now, I've said before in one of my earlier videos that I wanted a lot of algae all on my rocks and just matted on my rocks, and I do. But that's not going to be possible with me having live plants inside of this tank. It seems like that the algae, and the hair algae especially, likes to attack the plants first. As many years I've been keeping fish, that's just been my has been my experience, that they like to attack the live plants first, kill those out, and then it becomes the dominant plant in your tank. And that's not nothing unusual, because sometimes you will have certain plants like guppy grass or certain plants like hornwort, which will take up all the nutrients, kill out all the other plants, so that it could become the dominant plant in the tank. So it wouldn't surprise me if algae does the same thing. Then it starts growing on your rocks and all that kind of stuff. But that can't happen because, like I said, I don't want it to kill out all my plants, and that'll be a lot of maintenance work that I have to do. So hopefully the UV light will keep that algae down, as I will have to treat this tank now for algae probably, because I just have to let the moss grow on the rocks, and hopefully I can get something looking good out of that. So that's not going to work. That's not going to work in this tank, at least not with live plants. Now, in one of my videos I said that I don't use catfish or anything like that in my tanks. And the reason why I don't use catfish is because the Synodontis catfish is a fish within its own right. You can't just feed that fish that it relies on scraps. You have to feed it pellets. Usually you have to feed it at night. It also adds to waste in your tank and things of that nature. And they don't even eat algae, right? And they don't really eat detritus or dead leaves and stuff like that growing on your plants. They have to be fed. And of course they do eat snails, especially ramshorn snails. I don't think they hurt the MTS snails much, but definitely would put a hurt on those ramshorn snails. And so that's why I don't keep the Synodontis catfish in this tank. I was tempted to buy one, and I might end up buying some Synodontis catfish later on. Who knows? I might get the edge, might want to do it, make a mistake. I don't know. But don't get me wrong, but it is a fish within its own right. But if I don't add the Synodontis, I probably will add a bushy nose Plattco. They do need some wood. It doesn't hurt to add a little driftwood to a tank that's already got very hard water. It's the substrate in my 90-gallon is Quick Creek mixed along with pool filter sand and some crushed coral mixed together. Really makes a nice little thing there in that tank. And so so hopefully I explained a little bit about my tanks, just a little bit, and what I'm running. Of course, I'm running pot scrubbies. You might have seen a little bit of marine pure balls, but there's pot scrubbies inside of that filter, that 75-gallon filter on the 40-gallon breeder. It's got pot scrubbies at the bottom, and I just threw some marine pure balls on top. Why not, right? So I had them, so might as well use them. And so that's pretty much it that I wanted to talk about and wanted to discuss today. So on my next video, which will be a little ways down the line, I'm going to talk about some other interesting things that's going on in the aquarium, how it's developing, the new fish that I might end up getting, and so and the new snails as well that I might end up getting. I got some interest in some different kind of things. Just one last point that I did want to bring out before I end this extra long video. If you are looking to put in plants in your African cichlid tank, especially Lake Tanganyika tank, since that water is going to be extra hard, I would advise, and I've got an Amazon sword in this 90-gallon tank too, but I would advise getting plants like Jungle Valve, excellent plant. Now it's going to have some light. We'll have to have some pretty bright light in there. It won't have to be extremely bright, but it does need its light. Crips, swords, Amazon swords, maybe Java malts. Like I said, Java fern doesn't seem to do too well in hard water long term. And maybe Anubias, maybe that one will do well. Dorsax, Sagittarius, or they will do well probably in hard water. There's several plants that will do well in hard water. I even got a water wisteria in there. I don't know how well it'll do, but and so there will be several plants that will do well, and you get the right kind of Lake Tanganyika fish in your tank that won't eat the plants or dig them up. You can have a nice planted tank, and that will help your water quality. And so these are just a few little tips that I wanted to give everyone today. And hey, keep on hacking.